like, and subscribe. MAGA, Trump is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. But him making America great to Trump is not making America great to you, MAGA, because he's making America what it was before. Trump is making America what it was before. You did not, there was no middle class. Make America great means going back. And when you go back to America, America never was great. There were no child labor laws. There was no 40-hour work week. There was no vacations. There was no middle class. You were dirt poor. MAGA, you were dirt poor. You weren't in a middle class. He's making America what it was. And what it was to him was great. Because rich people could do anything they wanted to poor people. Hence, Epstein. Epstein did exactly what he wanted to do. He was even caught. The first time he was caught, he was basically released. And if he had been put in jail, like he should have been put in jail, a whole lot of white women's lives would not be messed up. Would not be messed up, and they would not need therapy if Epstein had been sentenced the way he should have been sentenced, instead of allowed to build up the biggest, worst SA situation the world has ever known. Even with the beef jerky. And we know what beef jerky was. And guess what? And a lot of the people that were involved with Epstein are not in jail. The people who are suffering are the victims. That is what America was. That's what America was back in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, and back further. There was no middle class. The best thing that happened to Americans was the South losing the Civil War. Because when the South lost the Civil War, that made jobs for poor white people. And the term white trash did not come from black Americans, and you know that. But see, you betrayed us. During Bacon's Rebellion, you betrayed us because they created white people. Because before white people, there were English, German, Italian, French, and you fought each other. There was no white people. White people was to give you a connection to the haves so that they would not, to that 1%, so because they were outnumbered, they didn't want to be overrun. And they wanted you to be police, to police the slaves. They definitely didn't want you to police them because they were abusing you the same way they were abusing slaves. And now, check this out. Make America what it was, Epstein. Epstein's victims were white women and kids. white women and kids were Epstein's victims. He was there. They were his beef. They were his jerky. They were his jerky. And they didn't use the book Delectable Negroes when they made their jerky. Make America what it was. When Trump says make America great again, he means make America what it was. It was never great for you. Never. Child, your children had to work. You were I forgot what they call it, when they give you a farm, supply everything you need, and then at the end of the week, you still couldn't pay your rent or get ahead. You couldn't do it. And then you worked in coal mining towns, and they didn't even pay you with money. They paid you with script, with company script. And so therefore you couldn't leave. You couldn't leave and go look for another job because you didn't have any real money. You had script. You were tied to it. You know what? People laugh when they say Black History Month was 28 days. But guess what? You don't have a White History Month. You don't even have a White History Month because your White History Month, all the history that they taught you were lies. They didn't tell you what they did to us. They told you a little of what they did to us, but they told you none of what they did to you did they tell you. They didn't tell you what you did. What they did to you, they didn't tell you. You know about that mountain in West Virginia where the coal miners had a shootout with the corporate thugs? They had hired gunmen. And even to this day, some of those bullet cases and things are up there now. And I think they want to tear the mountain down for some reason or another. But if you live in a coal mining town, then you know what I'm talking about. And the reason why Fred Hampton of the Black Panthers was taken out, because he was trying to help you all too. He wanted to start a people's movement. He wanted to get rid of racism and start a people movement. And he was going to Virginia talking to racists, and they were listening to him and realized, and they knew, and they agreed with him 100% because they knew that they were being screwed, and he was explaining to them divide and conquer. Something that you all see, but you keep crossing your fingers and hoping that the fantasy that they're feeding you comes true. And the fantasy is not coming true. It's coming true for Trump. You say, don't give African Americans reparations. Okay, but he gave $40 billion to Venezuela. If he would have gave that money to Black Americans, we would have built companies, corporations, jobs for everybody. You would be better off, even the farmers would be better off if Black Americans would have gotten reparations. And I'm going to tell you enough, Black reparations is the only thing that can save this country. It makes more sense to put the money in the country than give the money to Venezuela, which shows that you don't have a choice where the money goes anyway. He told you America first, and he's spending money in Iran, Venezuela, and if he could start the draft, he would. Now, you all should be worrying about, Instead of worrying about deleting Carmelo Anthony, and instead of worrying about, I can't think of the young man's name, we're getting with an O, instead of trying to defend Chow, who's guilty, you should be worrying about cuts in social services. You should be worrying about cuts in social services and the rising national debt. And the rich don't pay taxes, so who do they expect to get the money from? Some of you are smart enough to realize that you should have been listening. Others, I don't know what's wrong with you. You worrying about, you hear a lot of white people saying, oh, we're going to be the minority, we're going to be the minority, oh, this is terrible, this is terrible. You're the majority now, and what is happening to you? You are the majority, and what is happening to you? Who was bringing in immigrants to the United States and giving them Social Security? Biden. And then, well, the rest you can figure out for yourself. The rest you can figure out for yourself. All you have to do is look around. Because the same man that is hurting your families is the same man that you're asking for help. Why don't you just admit that you voted for a felon? You voted for a felon, and the man who we all know, but I have to say allegedly, is guilty of SA to your daughters and sons. In the meanwhile, you are treating me as if I am a threat to you. Asians are treating me as if I am a threat to them. 21% of Asian crimes have been Black Americans are guilty of. 51% of crimes to Asians, white Americans are guilty of. But you attack us as if you're going to be able to get a white privilege card. Well, guess what? You're not going to get a white privilege card, and the MAGA Republicans, they're not getting a white privilege card. They're going back to what America was. No union protection, no days off, longer hours, no raise in the minimum wage. And there comes a time when you have to figure this out for yourself. And that time, white people, is now, before it's too late. For the farmers, it is too late. For the white women that was in DEI, it is too late. For the Asians that were taken advantage of, college, the subsidies for colleges, it is too late. For Caucasians who were dependent upon welfare, it is too late. Farmers depending on subsidies, it is too late. The only chance you have is not to support the Democrats or the Republicans, because they work for the same rich people. The only chance you have is reparations to Black Americans, the people who built this country. And like I said before, you don't have your white history 11 months is a lie. Your white history month is a lie. At least Black Americans get 28 days of the truth. You don't get that. You get lies after lies after lies. They don't tell you about, you don't get, because if you got the truth, you would know about child labor. You would know about, all of white America would know about what coal miners have went through. Sharecropping. Black people weren't the only sharecroppers. White people were sharecroppers too, and they made no money either. But the powers to be have always trickled down just enough for you all to think you were getting ahead. And then they put you in trailer parks, and they put fences around the trailer park so they wouldn't have to look at you. And those people in the trailer parks, they called you white trash, not black Americans. We treated you equally and fairly. Now, investigate. Voting rights. If you weren't a rich white man, you couldn't even vote. I mean, you all talk like women had the right to vote from Jump Street. No, they did not. Your kids couldn't even go to school. They had to go to work to help the family to survive. Donald Trump's "Make America Great Again" means for the rich people. For the middle class Americans, it means make America what it was. And it was not a pretty sight. Like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.